Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha, Relka, Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth, and also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity. All right, so the Spirit just kind of moved me through the scriptures roundabout this morning, so I'm just going to touch on a few things. But I want to play this video really quick. So here it goes.
Let's talk inequality in the criminal justice system. Let's begin with a story about two universities. At Vanderbilt University, there was a 19-year-old football player who took an unconscious girl back to a hotel room where he raped her. Hotel footage caught him carrying her to the room. He admitted to the crime also. He was then found guilty of 3 felony counts. Let's move on to Stanford University. A 19-year-old swimmer was caught in the act of raping an unconscious girl outside of a club. He was also found guilty of multiple felony rape charges. Corey Beatty, the black student, was sentenced to a minimum of 15 to 25 years in prison, while the white student, Brock Turner, was only sentenced to 6 months.
This is actually Israelites and Edomites. Obviously, these videos aren't knowledgeable information, 100% knowledge, I guess. And this is only dealing with Southern Kingdom. So just imagine if these numbers were showing Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Latinos and so-called Native Americans, but it's just dealing with Southern Kingdom, which were the so-called Negroes and so-called blacks, But these numbers would be even higher if you were dealing with all Israel, who are the so-called blacks, so-called Native Americans, and so-called Hispanics or Latinos. All right. So the numbers are greater than what you're seeing here, because like I said, this is just dealing with Southern Kingdom, not counting Northern Kingdom in the prison systems, which we know that Northern Kingdom is a high percentage of the prison systems as well. Spiritually, that's one way
Inequality is still prominent in society, especially in the criminal justice system. Americans need to open their eyes and realize racism exists and lives are being destroyed over it.
So spiritually, that the Israelites are oppressed together, both Judah and Ephraim. Judah being the head tribe of Southern Kingdom, and Ephraim being the head tribe of Northern Kingdom. But like the report that the young Edomite woman just gave in the video, we know that it's inequality, or another word for inequality is iniquity. All right, so we're gonna jump in Micah 2:2, and actually, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm gonna backtrack because I forgot that I wanted to open this lesson with just proving who the wicked are really quick, and we can do that real easily on the internet, So I'm actually going to go to, let's see, we're going to go to Wikipedia really quick. We're going to go to search Edom. All right, so there it is. We're going to click on Edom. We know that the Edomite is a so-called white man. Let's look at this map really quick. Right there at the bottom in the yellow is Edom. Petra was one of their chief cities, which means rock, because the Edomites, they dwelled in the clefts of the rocks, meaning they literally used to carve into the mountains. At the bottom you see Petra, okay? Let's do it. You see at the bottom of the yellow right there? That's their capital city of Petra. And they also had a chief city called Basra, which may come up through the Spirit in this lesson. But so we know that the red man is the Edomite in the Bible. the so-called white man. He's really not white, he's red. Because the lack of melanin and pigmentation in his skin, enables the blood to show forth. So when you see a so-called white person, you literally, they appear red. If you go outside today, you can look at them and they're actually red. That's what the word Edom means, and it goes back to their birth. When they were born, the baby Esau was red. All right, so I'm going to actually go to Edom, then I'm going to click on religion, just so we can, and then right at the top of the screen, it says, there is a Jewish tradition stemming from the Talmud that the descendants of Esau, who was the red baby born in Genesis, would eventually become the Romans, and to a larger extent, all Europeans. Okay, so Esau, as we know, is the forefather of the Edomites, and also the Roman Empire, according to scholars. And that's what we just read there in the religion tab. Okay, let's go back to it really quick. Let's see. Where'd it go? Okay, so at the top of the screen, it says Esau would eventually become the Romans, and to a larger extent, all Europeans. All right. So, and then we want to focus on that city Petra, the bottom, the yellow, where it says Kingdom of Edom, Petra. All right. Now, really quick, I'm gonna go to. The internet is a beautiful thing. Knowledge has increased because we could just look up all these things, right? And let's look up Petra. And let's go to images. All right. So this is the land of Petra, what you saw in Edom. So you see how these structures look? Do they look familiar to you? This is literally where the Edomites live. They're cave dwellers. Later on in history, during the Dark Ages, they went back to the caves, and they were dwelling in the Caucasus Mountains, and they were doing the same thing, cutting into the mountain and living in these caves. All right, so this is a literal cave where an Edomite would live. They're actually the true caveman, the so-called white man, right, from Petra, and also the Caucasus Mountains. So, but does that look familiar, man? Because the brothers and I hold camp at the Denver courthouse, and let's just remember this picture here. And I'm about to go to really quick. Let's go to Denver Courthouse. We'll go to images. All right, and what does that look like to you? Right, it shows you that these Edomites, the times may change, but these Edomites don't change. They have a perpetual hatred towards the Israelites, and also in their architecture and their structures have not changed. All right, this is a Denver County Courthouse. All right, it looks just like Petra, right? And then just like we said, Edom. We'll go back to this. There's the map. There's Petra at the bottom. Petra's at the bottom. Let me zoom in on it. Kingdom of Edom, Petra, which means rock, piedra in Spanish. All right. And then we're going to go next to, let's see what happens if I pull up Roman structures. Let's look it up. Oh, and look at that. This is in Pantheon, which is a Roman structure. Right? It's in Rome. But look at that. I mean, it's the same exact thing. This is showing you that, the Denver courthouse, the caves of Petra, where the white man dwelt, the so-called white man, because he's an Edomite according to the Bible. But this is the same thing. This is where he's dwelling in these structures, right? I showed you 3 different time frames. I showed you Petra's images. I showed you Rome's images in this picture. And then we also saw the Denver County Courthouse, which is literally the same structure, same image. All right. So just wanted to show you that. And then let's really quick go to the scripture, because the Spirit has me in this. Let's go to Obadiah. Let me see. Let's jump to 3 real quick. No, actually, we'll read 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. All right. And this is 2 meanings to verse 2. Small among the heathen, because the white man, the so-called white man, he's actually small among the heathen, physically, like in numbers. Many so-called white men, Edomites, they don't have a lot of children, overall. If you look, you will go do a survey and you just ask some random so-called white dude, how many kids he has or how big his family is compared to the Israelites, who are the so-called blacks, the so-called Native Americans and Hispanics. You're going to find that they're small in numbers. All right. And this is said small among the heathen, but Yahweh's talking about he's made them small and despised among the heathen, meaning the other nations. The word heathen means nation. So Esau, Edom, is literally despised by so many different countries. They hate the Edomite, who, especially the Edomite that dwells in Babylon, America. All right. You have many countries speaking against the Edomite in this day and age. All right. So verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. All right. The Edomite is a very, very prideful creature. Right. Yahweh has built him that way. He made him full of pride. All right. And the Bible says that his heart, which is his mind, is going to deceive him because of his pride. All right. And it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And we know that this is the the way, the thought process of an Edomite. They're very proud, very arrogant. They think everybody's below them, right? Because they don't believe the Bible. Because the Bible says the opposite, all right? So they don't believe the Bible, so that's why they literally believe that they are the shit. They think they're the shit, man. And you don't believe me, just go out and about, among Edomites, and they're very prideful. All right, they're not humble at all. We're gonna go to verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence I will bring thee down, saith Yahweh. All right. So really quick with that statement, what is the national bird of America? Let's look it up. Well, it says right there, bald eagle is the national bird of America. Let's go to an image, see if we can. There it is, right there. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, who is Edom. I already proved to you who's Edom, right? Just want to stress this, though. There it is, the good old eagle, who's actually an unclean bird, is associated directly with the flag right there, America, which is Babylon, right? And also, let me see if I can pull something up. What was Rome's national bird? All right, so doesn't have a good example here, but Rome also exalted themselves as the eagle. All right, didn't come up here, but you can do your research and realize very quick that Rome also exalted themselves as the eagle. All right, like it says here in verse Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence I will bring thee down, saith Yahweh. I want to jump to 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace and with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right. And that shows you. Oh, here we go. Let's keep reading. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mountain of Esau? All right, he's going to destroy the wise men out of Edom when he returns, when Yahweh Shai visits the earth on the chariots, the so-called UFOs. All right, and this is not a chariot lesson or a UFO lesson. We're just going to jump on Esau's case for a while here. All right, so let's jump to verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. All right. So what does this say about the so-called white man? It says he's going to be cut off forever. Right. He does have to serve 1,000 years in the kingdom. All right. Because our heaven, you know, is the opposite of when I say our heaven, I'm referring to the Israelites, who are the so-called black man, so-called Native American man, and so-called Hispanic man. All right. Our heaven is going to be the opposite of your heaven. Esau right now is in his heaven, which for this time, heaven is referring to rulership. All right. So you can read the whole book of Obadiah. It's basically just a whole chapter with one chapter of pure fire to the so-called white man. All right. You know, that's kind of it's a coincidence that, you know, you literally never hear the so-called white man bringing up Obadiah in his churches, you know, and then if he does, it's a deception. You know, he's not going to tell you that he's the Edomite according to the Bible. All right, so now really quick, let's just go real quick to speak about the babies, Esau and Jacob. All right, it says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. All right. And after that came his brother out. Well, actually, you know, I'm not going to read that. Just 25. Keep it simple. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So now let's jump to Romans. Talking about that first baby was Esau, the red baby, the so-called white man. And we're going to jump to Romans real quick. Let's see. And I think it's 13 or 11. Okay, we'll start at 11. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. All right. So it's talking about those two babies, those children, that before they did any good or evil, Yahweh had already had a chosen people, an election. That's what that word elect means, chosen. All right. So it says, verse 12, Romans 9 and 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right. Now wait a minute. Who was Esau? All right, let's just look him up on Wikipedia. We know who Esau is, but I'm just you people don't believe unless I show you in the so-called white man's encyclopedia on the internet. So Wikipedia, let's just look them up real quick, because it said, we just read that God hates Esau. Now let's go read. We'll just read this really quick. Let's see. I'm trying to find something that proves that he's the forefather of the Roman Empire. Let me see. Okay, this is too much to read for the time being. Let's just look it up. Who is the forefather? Let me see. Okay, it's not working. I'm going to type it in. Who is the forefather? Alright, so I'm just going to leave it right here. It says Esau, forefather of the Roman Empire. Alright, so I just proved to you that Esau is the forefather of the Roman Empire according to historians. Edom are the descendants of Esau. Alright, and basically who became the Romans, who became the Europeans, who became the Americans. Alright, so let's go back to the scriptures, because that's enough. I just wanted to establish who Esau Edom is. Alright, and now we're going to go to the book of Malachi. In the book of Malachi, it says 1 and 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Alright, and that word indignation means righteous hatred. So literally the Edomites, Yahweh has a righteous hatred forever against you. And it's because, like we read in Obadiah 1 and 10, you've been violent against your brother Jacob, who are the Israelites. The Edomites, the so-called white people, have always oppressed the so-called black people, Native Americans, and so-called Hispanic people. All right. So the Lord has a charge against you. All right. According to the Bible. And in verse 4, the Lord calls you the border of wickedness, the people who he has a righteous hatred against forever. All right. So I just wanted to establish who the wicked is, who Esau is, and who Edom is. All right. So really quick, let me just go to Isaiah. We'll see 14, and let's see what 16 says. Let me see. All right, and we'll start at 12, because this is dealing with Esau, Edom, who is the wicked, who is Lucifer. All right, this is him falling from heaven, meaning the so-called white man. Like I said, heaven deals with rulership. This is the white man's rulership right now, aka the so-called white man's heaven. So we're going to go to Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? All right, so I can keep reading that, but I'm going to actually jump down to 16, because this is dealing with the Edomite. All right, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and that did shake kingdoms? All right. So, just like we read earlier, that the heathen, he's made him small among the heathen. All right. Same thing. Now he's talking about shaking kingdoms. Let's take a look at what the so-called white man did in history. Okay. Let's see. Hiroshima. atomic bomb. All right. So let's see. All right. So I'm trying to get to a video, and it says it's restricted. All right. Okay, I have to disable restricted mode. I guess I'm on restricted mode, but it's not gonna show me. But you get the point. If I could play the video, it's the mushroom cloud. It's the atomic bomb, which now Esau, he has the nuclear bomb. All right. Let me just see if I can fast forward through this. Let's see. Alright, so I'm not getting any luck trying to show you the bomb. Let me see if I can fast forward through this. It's kind of showing.
Japan continues to fight.
Okay, the aftermath. There you go. The man that did shake his kingdoms.
The United States drops a second atomic bomb. This time on the city of Nagasaki.
Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Another 40,000 die.
This is atomic, not nuclear.
Japan formally surrenders 3 weeks later.
Alright, so that's...
The world's bloodiest war is finally over.
And that's World War II. The second woe, according to the Bible. Alright, so let's go back to the scriptures and alright, it says, "They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms?" Alright, we just showed you how the Edomite shakes kingdoms with his atomic, and eventually he's going to be his nuclear power. Alright, so we showed you who's the border of wickedness, and God calls him the wicked. God calls him the wicked in Obadiah and Malachi. All right. So now I'm going to jump to Micah. Go back to verse 2 here. "And they covet the fields and take them by violence." I'm sorry. Yeah, let's read that. "And they covet the fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." Okay. So not only did the so-called white men, put and let's just look up, they took away the heritage of the so-called black man and the so-called Hispanic man, so-called Native American, right? They literally took it from them. They gave us different names, bywords, as it's one of the curses from Deuteronomy. Let's just look this up real quick. You can see these are some images of slavery. And during these times, the Israelites, they were kept in captivity and in slavery, and they weren't slavery wasn't abolished until the 1800s, and our people got here, and also the Native Americans. That's right here. That's spiritual. That picture shows up, because those are also Israelites. All right. Notice the fringes on the garments. All right. Showing you that the so-called Native Americans are also Israelites. All right. But let's click on some more of these slavery images. Here's a group of slaves, being oppressed. They were brought over here through the Western Atlantic slave trade. So, this so-called white man, he he's the devil that the Bible speaks of, all right? And I'm giving you all kinds of images and proof and videos showing you who the Bible's talking about, all right? And if you can't see it, you're just fucking ignorant. And you're a fucking deception. You have a divisive mind, meaning a wicked mind. So let's go to verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So those people I just showed you in those pictures, they were literally stripped of their heritage. Because I know a lot of Hispanic, so-called Hispanics, believe that their last names are cultural and of their heritage. But they don't understand that we had Hebrew names, all right? Prior to the names that the so-called white man gave us, all right? And that's the case with the so-called Negro. That's why they have the same name as the so-called white man. You have the Jacksons, the Millers, the Johnsons. Oh, the same thing with the so-called Hispanics and Latinos and Native Americans. They also share the names of their oppressor because they were given to us. All right? Like my last name is Cruz, but you know what I mean? That's a Spanish name, which a Spaniard is an actual Edomite, so-called white man. All right? You have our people who are taking pride in being called Cruzes and Perezes and Martinezes, not understanding that those are names from their Spanish oppressors, the conquistadors, when they destroyed the Native Americans. All right? And let me just show you that real quick in the scriptures. Go to Genesis 49 and 19. And here it says, Gad is the so-called Native Americans, all right? Right here it says, Genesis 49 and 19, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And that verse covers a lot of time, because the so-called Native Americans were overcome by a troop. And who was that troop? It was the conquistadors. It was the Europeans, all right, who destroyed the so-called Mexicans and the so-called Native Americans, all right? So the overcome at the last is because the tribes of Israel, starting out with the prophets, are going to be, they're going to have some redemption, all right? And that's when Yahweh Shai returns. He's the one who's going to deliver us from this so-called white man. Not anybody that you could think of. Not Martin Luther King didn't. Not Malcolm X didn't. Not Marcus Garvey. Not Cesar Chavez. Not not any of these leaders of the nation of Israel who are calling themselves, Hispanics, Native Americans, blacks. Those people are not going to lead us to a deliverance. No, it's going to be Yahweh Shai. All right? That's the only way. It's through Yahweh Shai. And the way we get it is through these scriptures. All right? This is our sword. This is our truth. This is the truth, I should say. And now I'm going to go to Micah 2 and verse 6. And it says, this is, prophesy ye not, say to them that prophecy, they shall not prophesy to them that they shall not take shame. All right. So really, the prophets, let's read it again. Prophesy ye not, say to them that prophecy, they shall not prophesy to them that they shall not take shame. All right. So we're going to jump to Isaiah for a better understanding on that verse. Isaiah 30 and verse 10. All right, so it says Isaiah 30 and 10, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. All right, so that's why how who the real prophets are. We're the ones who are speaking about the truth, and whether it offends people or not. But you don't see that in Joel Osteen. I'm bringing him up because he just had the coon Kanye West show up at his church. And what are they speaking over there? Smooth things, all right? They're not speaking the bitter, they're only speaking the sweet part of the Bible. They're not speaking the bitter, all right? But the prophets on the street corners, starting out with the elder apostles of Great Millstone, are preaching the truth, whether it offends or not. So that's just, if you can't see that and you can't understand who a true prophet is compared to a false prophet, then it's because you have a divisive mind, meaning a wicked mind. That's what divisive means. All right. I'm going to go back to, just because I wanted to touch on this one. We talked about I opened up this video showing you the iniquity and inequality in the court system of Esau, the so-called white man, just to further prove who he is according to the scriptures. This is Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. All right, so what does Esau, let's see. How can I look this up? We'll go look up the scales of justice images. All right, so you've seen these. This is what like a symbolic thing for the courthouses, right? And we just proved in the very first video I showed how the so-called white man is inequality, in iniquity. He's the master of iniquity. And then we read in the Bible, it says that the false balance is an abomination to the Lord, and a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. All right, so the so-called white man, his court system is all in master of iniquity. His inequality happens continually in his courthouses. All right, so just showing you who the devil is according to the Bible. All right, now I'm going to go to Psalms. We're going to go to verse 36. Let's see. And we'll start out. We'll start at verse 1. Psalm 36:1. The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of Yahweh before his eyes. Because the so-called white man, he doesn't fear, he don't fear Yahweh. If he feared Yahweh, he wouldn't allow same-sex marriages, all right? If he feared Yahweh, he wouldn't enable women's rights and the liberty of women, giving them the freedom to become whores in society without condemnation, all right? But he's the master of iniquity, and he doesn't believe or fear Yahweh. He's even to the point where his pride, like we brought it up, pride comes before the fall. I just read that. He's gonna have so much pride that he's gonna try and fight the UFOs, which are the chariots of God. All right, and really quick, just to prove more of this, I'm gonna go to Daniel. Daniel 7:25. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, which are the prophets, the men who learned the truth, the so-called blacks, so-called Native Americans, so-called Hispanics who learned this truth, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and a times and the dividing of time. Meaning we're under the captivity of the so-called white man, all right? The saints, the prophets, all right? We are literally preaching this truth, and we're going against the grain. We're going against the masses, all right? Because the rest of the world, they don't believe we're prophets. They think we're a spectacle. They think we're a joke, all right? But, they believe in the laws of Esau. They believe in the Edomite. As a matter of fact, our people, the 2/3, they don't believe anything unless the Edomite teaches it to them. All right. So right here it says, talking about the Edomite who's in rulership and dominion right now, says, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. All right, so literally the so-called white man changes the laws of Yahweh. All right, he deceives, and everybody thinks he's righteous and he's a good guy, but he's actually the devil. All right, and we're proving it through the scriptures, through the Holy Spirit. Really quick, because there's a ton of meat in this chapter. I couldn't condemn the white man without going, the so-called white man, without going into 2 Thessalonians 2, and we're going to start at 3. All right. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. All right, so let no man deceive you, and who deceives everybody? Let's just start out with his image. All right, let no man deceive you. Who are all our people representing when they pray to? This is the man right here, Jesus Christ. They're all praying to this image, right? And it's a false image. It's not the way the Bible describes the Messiah. But you can't tell that to a so-called Mexican or a lot of these, even these so-called black Negroes believe in this white Jesus. All right, which is just a demonic image. All right. So back to the scriptures. Except there come a falling away, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. So who fell? The tribes of Israel. All right, fell, and that man we fell under the white man into his captivity. And the man of sin be revealed. Who's the man of sin? It's the Edomite, the wicked one. All right, the descendant of Esau, and the son of perdition. All right, the word perdition means destruction. What did we just show you in the video with the bomb? There was destruction, right? And there's going to be more destruction coming to America and the world via the thermonuclear missiles. All right. Verse 4, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. And it says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or is worshipped, so that he as Yahweh sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. All right, and who is that? This is the so-called white man showing you that he's God. He puts this in his temples. He puts this in all the temples, even the temples in Israel. If you go in there, they're going to have the images of this demon. All right. So it's plain to see. All right. He's showing himself that he is Yahweh in verse 4. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. All right. So the prophets told us in the ancient times, and now we're telling you in these modern times. But most of these people they rather believe a lie. Verse 6, and now ye know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. Who is getting revealed in his time? To be the demon, the devil, the so-called white man. I've just showed you case after case after case after case. If we were in a courthouse, I had all of this evidence presented, the white man would be found guilty, because he is guilty. All right. So, and I should say so-called white man. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. The mystery of iniquity. Why is it a mystery? It's a mystery because all of you people are thinking that, they're thinking this guy right here is God. It's a mystery to you people, to the masses, And it's a heavy demon that's on the people of Israel. All right. So, and let's read that again. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed. All right, that's what we're doing. The prophets are revealing the wicked, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Who is his mouth? It's the prophets. All right. I'm trying to look for that verse I'm trying to remember where it's at. But who are the mouths? Let me read it again. All right, let's see. Let me see here. Where am I at? Lost my spot. Okay, 8. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So let's hold that thought. Let's go to Matthew real quick. Go to Matthew 4:4. What does that say? But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh. Alright? So who is the mouth of Yahweh? It's been written. It's the prophets. Alright? So literally, that's not the verse I was looking for, but I'll go ahead and use that one. Go back to 2 Thessalonians 2, and I think we were on 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. All right, so who has all the power on planet Earth right now? It's the so-called white man, who's the Edomite. All right, he has the military might. He has the nuclear might. He has his lying wonders are his technology. His lying wonders is his 5G. His lying wonders are his medications, his witchcraft, which the word pharmacy means witchcraft in Greek, which the Greeks became, they are the Romans, the same people who we already proved at the beginning of this video are the Edomites, the so-called white men. Even him whose coming is verse 9, or actually, you know what, we read that, verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. So if you actually believe these prophets in the truth, you have a shot at being saved, meaning having salvation, delivered from the destruction. But you don't believe it. So verse 11, it says, And for this cause Yahweh shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Alright? Because you don't love the truth, well, guess what? You're going to believe this lie right here. That's what the Bible says. These are not our words. These is the Bible's words. Okay? And just to top this off, I want to go to, let me see. Go back to Micah, because I had a point to make that I forgot about. Micah 2:2. And let's see. Oh no, I'm sorry. Micah 1:2. And wait, what is it? Oh no, I'm sorry. It was in Psalms. Got confused. Psalms 36 and 1, and it says, let me see, 36. Okay, here it is. Psalms 36:2. It says, For he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hated. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. All right, so who flatters himself with his own mouth? All right, well, let's look it up. Let's look it up real quick, because we're almost done here at this lesson. But who is the wicked one that flatters himself with his own mouth? All right.
Give myself, look, I hate to do it, but I will do it. I would give myself an A+. Is that enough?
We're reading about the one who flatters himself, right? I'll go back to that verse, but
So I give myself an A+. I don't think any president has
There's
ever
the-
done what I've done.
there's the eagle we just talked about in the
I
back.
would give myself an A+.
There's Petra,
Nobody
Rome,
has done
the
what I've
structure.
been able to do.
Well, a lot of people have given me an A. Somebody gave me an A+. In Texas and in Florida, we get an A+. And I'll tell you what, I think we've done just as good in Puerto Rico. Did I do a good job? I can't do better than that. That's called an A+ rating, right? In terms of achievement, I think I'd give myself an A. Because I think I've done great things, but I don't think I and my people, I don't think we've explained it well enough to the American public. I think I get an A in terms of what I've actually done, but in terms of messaging, I'd give myself a C or a C+.
Okay, so there it is. We just had, let me just go to the scriptures now. Go back to the scripture. We'll go into, just we've proven who this devil is, who this demon on the planet Earth is. And I'm going to go back to, this is speaking of the wicked one. Psalms 36:2. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. And abhorreth means hate. This right here says he doesn't hate evil. No, because the white man brings evil to the planet Earth. And just like verse 2 says, for he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. Well, what was the president, the leader of Babylon, the king of Babylon, what was he just saying? He was flattering himself, giving himself an A+ in that video. How many times did he flatter himself in that video? All right. So, but with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Ha-Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, the elder apostles of Great Millstone. And also want to give a shout out and acknowledge the brothers who are out pushing this truth with sincerity, who are the hopeful elect. Shalom to the elect.